President of the United States.
If a good ass-kicking is what the Republican Party needed, well, Joe Biden delivered.
And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you.
From Kavanaugh to Dairy Queen.
But here's what offended me. Here's what I found to be outrageous is Sergeant at Arms came up and told me that I needed to take the hat off.
The gauntlet was laid down, and today the Republican Party and Fox are trying to figure out what the hell happened.
The unifying moment about this tradition, and we got none of that tonight. There was almost nothing that we could agree to.
That's rich. Unifying? That's what every punk wants after they get their ass kicked. Can we get along, please? Joe Biden won in every way you can win. He spoke with vigor and strength and attacked the hypocritical right with no mercy. And he never mentioned Tiny Finger's name, but the message was loud and clear. Sleepy Joe is wide the f*** awake.
Joe Biden was angry. He was bitter. He was screaming, as you noted, the entire night. He was radical and extreme. And he was completely out of touch with the American people. Frankly, tonight, Joe Biden reminded me like an angry old man standing on his porch screaming to the kids, "Get off my lawn."
Well, Ted, if I were you, I'd get off the lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Listen, old man, you don't want to with me.
Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn now.
It didn't work out well for those guys, and it's going to be worse for you. Joe Biden was exactly what we needed. A sober, compassionate take on what happens when you hand your country over to a cult.
I brought my Bible.
From the start, Republicans were either booing at the truth.
Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh, no. You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was.
Or sitting on their hands when Biden called for a cure for cancer.
Like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
How is Mike Johnson not standing up and applauding? Mike Johnson is sitting. How the f*** do you not stand and applaud that? What are you, the pro-tumor party? Biden was sharp, on point, and spared no one. The only Republican with a smile on his face was the guy sitting next to Lauren Boebert. This isn't surprising. Joe Biden's message was always clear. Strengthen the economy, stand up to tyranny, defend bodily autonomy, and tax billionaires. The question was he the right guy to do it?
And say what you want, but that's the way it is.
Just yesterday, Trump was crying for a debate, Trump style. That is, he answers no questions on policy, but simply acts like an annoying 12-year-old. But today, Skin Tag has to wonder, who the hell is this guy?
And with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral or political power.
Everything started a little late when pro-Palestinian protesters tried to block the beast from entering the Capitol. No, the other beast, the presidential SUV. But Biden was undeterred.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
From a joke at the outset, he turned it on high.
Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. But my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before and we'll stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it.
Biden was on fire, telling the millions of Europeans watching we would not allow NATO to fall, quoting Trump's outrageous comment that Putin could do what he wants.
Wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
There's no doubt that Putin and Trump had the same response to this speech. Their junk retracted and a realization set in. This might be harder than we thought. The President of the United States showed up and said, "Not on my watch." Joe Biden has not spent his entire life working for America to let a flabby, spray-painted sociopath bring us down. From FDR to Reagan, Biden made the case for restoring America as the standard for strength and freedom, which, of course, Republicans and Fox found horrifying.
It was difficult to sit through. It was a hyper-partisan speech.
Fox ran tape implying that Biden was on drugs, and maybe they were right, but not like Junior's drugs.
I have a cocaine addiction.
But more like the Huey Lewis kind, a renewed love and appreciation of what this nation can achieve and still become.
I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not.
But if there was one thing that really stood out, it was the GOP hypocrisy regarding the border.
America has a national security crisis because of Joe Biden. Joe must go.
She's so pitiful and not even a good liar. The border bill would do something not even Trump did: shut it down when the border encounters reach 5,000 in a day. And the GOP rejected the border bill, didn't even give it a vote. A bill that was created by Jim Langford, one of the most conservative voices in the Senate. In the end, on orders from Trump, it was defeated by Altar Boy, who hid his face when Biden called him out.
Give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read.
The border bill tells you everything you need to know about MAGA, which is the new GOP. And I'll say this directly to anyone watching who wears that ridiculous hat. He doesn't care for you.
You know what also is dead that Donald Trump killed? The Republican Party. And so in the hearing yesterday, I was done with the bullshit where I was told that, their objection on the Republican side was some sort of policy objection. It's not a policy objection. It's everything that they've ever asked for on a border security deal, except Donald Trump, a little light went on in his little head that if Democrats and Republicans work together to take on, issues at the border, then he can't run on that. And again, we know Donald Trump is running because of Donald Trump.
He begs for your money while he calls himself rich, and he no longer cares that you know. The GOP has effectively abandoned the border solution so Trump can run a campaign on it. But what will Trump say as Americans start to realize that they were again played by this grifter?
It's clear that Biden did what he needed to do last night to unify his party. They were all singing his praises last night. You got the pundits on television that are now rallying behind Biden. The Republicans better get it together.
Even conservative Republican Jim Langford agreed with Biden.
The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned.
What America heard last night was the truth about America and Republicans. But we also heard a warning about what happens when you allow a cult to fashion and shape your future.
In a world where qualifications are often measured by titles and years of experience, we are reminded of a powerful truth. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Laura Trump is the embodiment of this truth.
That is the GOP, once a body of conservative thought, now a Kool-Aid factory. God delivered Trump to them to save them from people like Trump. Sure, why not?
Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away?
We've already heard from Clarence Thomas and Alito that they believe reproductive rights have been allowed to stray from where they believe they should be. Thomas suggested that a state could ban contraception. But Biden's question of what's next is both frightening and a real dystopian possibility. And it's no coincidence that this junior senator from Alabama would give the GOP rebuttal. Her meandering attack on Biden was so bad I almost felt sorry for her. Almost.
She was one of the U.S. senators who was involved in the bipartisan negotiations to create a border bill. And she helped create the bill and then voted against it.
She represents Alabama, a state that has slipped into a Margaret Atwood novel, where frozen embryos are offered more freedom and opportunities than the men and women who voted her into this awkward position. Joe Biden was in control, both folksy, presidential, and ready to kick ass, even at the end with wit and self-deprecation.
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
I've turned off my CNN alerts on my phone, and instead I will focus on getting this message out every day until November 5th. A bully doesn't represent strength. Strength comes from character and your steadfastness to these values that you not only preach, but practice. We have a president who has overcome a speech impediment as a child, then rose to the highest office in the land, all the while using that character to guide him through personal tragedies and professional setbacks. And he was there, defending his son as he recovers from his own personal demons. Can you see the other guy doing that? Joe Biden has spent his life in awe of what all Americans can achieve, regardless of their politics. He's the kind of man this nation should revere. I know I do.
Am I wrong? Damn right.
TikTok! You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and hit notifications as Really American keeps you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.